We're live.
No dancing tonight.
No dancing tonight. That was really bad. I watched it back last week and I'm like doing these ones at the start. Good start, Shannon. Welcome everyone to the AFLW show for another week. I'm joined by my beautiful co-host Kira. Good evening, Kira. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good, thank you. Although I would have been a lot better if it wasn't a draw on the weekend, but that's okay. We'll get into all of that a little later on, but I'm doing all right.
Look, I can't even begin. So let's begin the show instead. Gets better every week. I say it every week. I continue to say for the rest of time. It is one of the best intros I've seen. Like I didn't think it could get any better after last year's, but topped it. So where do we begin? I didn't get to see the game at the time, but I watched it back yesterday because that was the only moment I had to myself. And you warned me. You did warn me.
I did warn you multiple times.
You did. And as soon as I finished watching it, I messaged you. And your response was, I was waiting for this message.
Because I messaged you when it happened in real time. And I'm like, Jan, you need to prepare yourself because when you watch this, it's going to hurt. And I was just waiting for that message that you had watched it and your reaction, which I did get yesterday. And it just each day I think it's actually got progressively worse each day because I'm like, oh, it's okay. And then I'm like, it's really not okay. Like, how did we lose that? Not lose, draw, but how did we not win that game?
And we'll get into it like throughout the rest of the show. And it's something that I think is a red flag. It's a big red flag. Like, kudos to Port Adelaide in the way that they came out and played, especially in that second quarter. They're going to be a really good side once they get a little bit more cohesion. And when you think about who they were missing in their forward line, it's scary to think what it could have been.
Absolutely.
It's scary. They kicked 4 goals, pretty cheap ones, if I may say so. And, they're going to be a force, Port Adelaide. And it's actually good to see that the expansion clubs are actually performing really well. Essendon dominated over in the West in the weekend. So it's going to be – they're the two standout teams for mine. Sydney and Hawthorn aren't quite there, but they will be. But it's a huge thing to me that in watching it back that there is a huge red flag waving at Icon Park.
A massive, massive red flag. And I think Pommy's mentioned it in the comments, but his comment is spot on because that's exactly what it was. And I think it is really concerning. Shannon and I were talking off air just before we popped on here, but we were talking about how we won against Essendon by 1 point and we drew with Port. If we're just scraping by, not even scraping by against the expansion clubs, imagine what it's like against NAM, otherwise known as Melbourne, like the really big sides. We'll get our pants pulled down if we perform the way we have been because
we're in a bit of trouble. We're in a bit of trouble. And I know we said at the start of the season that our expectations aren't going to be high because of the turnover that we had in players. But when you look at our list, there's still a lot of experience in there. But one thing that we forget is that these expansion clubs also have players that have been playing for a very long time in the AFLW system. So the expansion teams are going to be better than everybody anticipated for that reason. And I was a little bit surprised to see that Erin Phillips didn't really have much of an impact in any quarter, to be perfectly honest, which is very unlike her. Maybe a good thing for us.
Very good thing.
But no, and yeah, I don't know. I just can't quite put my finger on what went wrong. And that second quarter for mine, let's talk about that second quarter, because we started off strong and I thought, yep, two goals to nothing at quarter time. Beautiful. You know, it'll build. It did not build.
It was a downward slope, not a building block.
No, that's right. And it was like we were downhill skiing. We weren't prepared to put our bodies over our heads over the ball. Our tackling, they were breaking our tackles easily. We kept persisting with that inside kick from the wing into the middle, and it became like a book that you read every night. Predictable, you know what's coming next.
What you just said was the complete opposite of how we reviewed the Essendon game, and that's the problem here. We said they had their head over the ball, they were trying their guts out, they wanted to win every contest, complete opposite to the second quarter of that game. And we go back to saying we didn't have high expectations, but our expectation is that will to win. And that just wasn't there in that second quarter. And that's what's really disappointing.
And that's it. Amanda's right. We were very lucky to not lose that game. I had a giggle at this one, though. Love your work, Pommy. That's probably the comment.
That's goal.
But it's true. Like, when you look at our list as a whole and those that pulled on the jumper, it's the same names every week that seem to pop up and play well. Your Abby McKays, your Mimi Hills.
Career best on the weekend.
Yes, we'll get back to Abby McKay. Skepper played an amazing. Her ability to mark the football in a contest on her chest is something else. And her left foot, the commentary actually brought it up. Shiloh brought it up. Was that her low left stab pass will hit a target every single time, and that's the probably shining light into the future. And Kez Peterson on the wing runs all day. She's that extra outlet player that I didn't know we had. To be perfect,
I didn't know we had either.
We just see us in the back line and we kind of go, oh, yep, she's that general down back. She'll mark everything that comes her way. Found out today that she actually has a decent tank about her. And that's what we need. We need that extra runner. And moving her and McAvoy, like swapping them around, has actually been really, really good for us. And I'm just, talking to Mimi Hill today at Icon Park, she said that if they know that if they kick it out to Kez, we're more than a 50-50 chance to make a contest of it, which is true, because she will make a contest of anything that comes her way. And that's one thing I like about her, the way she goes about it. But there's just something about this group. I want to love them, but at this point in time, they're not really showing me a lot, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, but it's not just the players. Obviously, they are the ones that responsibility lies on their shoulders because they're the ones that are going out there each week. But it's the whole women's department that we want to love. We just are struggling to get there this season because of how we're performing on the field, because of what's happened off the field. And it's really frustrating because you look at where we were at the start of AFLW and like we were a force. Like we were a fantastic side. And I know that a lot has changed in the competition and it's a little bit unfair to compare then to now because it's a completely different landscape. But you look at the past few years and I just don't see that improvement. I'm seeing us taking a few backward steps rather than going forwards.
No, and I think it's been since the grand final loss. We've kind of just, it's like we take one giant step forward and then like 3 or 4 even bigger steps back. And like you said, you can't compare then to now because the quality of player is different. The average age of the AFLW player is a lot lower than what it was in that first season. But we want to be seeing improvement after 7 seasons. You want to be seeing us pushing your Brisbanes, your Adelaides, your Melbournes, those top 3 or 4 teams that have been there for the entirety of this competition. You'd want to be, as a foundation club in the AFLW, you'd want to be pushing for a premiership.
Oh, absolutely.
You'd expect your Gold Coasts and your West Coasts and all those expansion clubs that came in after us to still be a little bit behind. But I feel that St Kilda are probably that slightly bit ahead of us, and they came into the competition after us. So I'm just a little bit concerned with where we sit as a club in this competition. We should be a powerhouse, and we're not.
And once again, I said it before when we were talking about this game, but you look at the show after the Essendon game compared to this show, the result isn't all that different. Like 1 point win versus a draw, but our attitude to the game was so different. And it's because of the way we played. It doesn't always rely on the scoreboard, how you perceive a game and how you judge a game. Like within the 4 walls of the football club, there would be a lot of different acts and KPIs that are how they see the game rather than just the 4 points at the end. But the game we played are 2 completely different games, even though the score's not all that different, which is why we're so disappointed right now compared to us talking about, oh, maybe we can make finals last week.
Yeah, well, technically your streak hasn't ended because we didn't lose.
We didn't lose, so I'm still kind of right. I'm going to hold on to that one for a little longer.
Let's hold on to it for as long as we possibly can. But you're right. In reviewing both games, the way that we went about our football in both games is so polar opposite, and that's the problem. We say this in the men's that the difference between our best and our worst is big, and it's big in the women's as well. Like the endeavour is there, and the girls want to work together and they want to work for each other. It's just that once you cross that white line, there's something like that first quarter. Can't fault that first quarter. The way we attacked the football, the pressure and the tackling that we put on Port Adelaide, it came back in that third quarter. Like we put the pressure on, we lay tackles in that third quarter. Can't fault it. It's that second quarter that worries me. If we pull out that second quarter against a side like Melbourne, they'll do what they did to us in that practice match at the MCG. They will spank us.
I don't even want to think about that.
No.
I'm not prepared for that. That can't happen.
Look, who knows? And it's up to the girls. And the girls I feel that the team know that on the weekend it wasn't their best performance.
No.
And they know they need to work on certain things. And like I said before, kudos to Port Adelaide. They held Mimi Hill to, I think, 5 possessions at halftime. And that's huge. They would in Lauren Arnell's list of achievements for that game, big tick for her.
Absolutely.
And in her 3rd official game as coach, she's going to take that team places. She is a phenomenal player. She was a phenomenal player. She's going to be a phenomenal coach.
You can tell by their culture off field before the season had even started that they will go places because of the culture they're building.
Yeah.
They're building a hell of a team.
They are building a hell of a team. And I'm actually looking forward to watching Port Adelaide for other reasons, because one of my ex-teammates is actually one of the foundation players at Port Adelaide, and I was thrilled to watch her name get called out over the weekend, to see her lay tackles, and it was actually good to see. But I'm just looking at this score, and I don't know.
And we haven't even touched on the injury yet.
We'll get there. It's just we won pretty much everything. I'm just looking at it. Our
We should
disposal
have won that
efficiency was
game.
better. Our efficiency, funny enough, inside 50 was better. And we smashed them in the hit-outs, beat them in the clearances, everywhere. Just everywhere. We beat them. And I'm just – let's talk about Abby McKay. She had a career best 26 disposals. She was absolutely everywhere. Everywhere. And
I remember half saying I went to the men's premiership reunion earlier in the year and half went and he did a little Q&A, and I remember specifically writing down the players that he said to watch this year, and he said watch Abby because Abby will be very important to us and she's super talented, and I think we're seeing that really taking a step up this season.
6 clearances. I feel that she is going to step into that void alongside Mimi that was left by Maddie Prasparkas. She has the opportunity now to establish herself as one of the dominant midfielders in the comp. And with Bree Moody tapping the ball down to her, I feel like between her and Mimi Hill, and to a smaller extent, Elise O'Day, I reckon we can build on this midfield. It's a young midfield, and like Mimi Hill still finished on 19 disposals.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks when we look at who we play in the next couple of weeks. But I'm impressed by the way that Abby McKay went about her football. Every second possession, or every time the commentators mentioned her name, her delivery was just amazing. And I'm really glad that she's ours, and we're not going to lose her anytime soon because, you know, family history is just deep-seated.
Family history, she's not going anywhere.
She's like the Jack Silvani of the AFLW side.
She actually is. I also wanted to mention Jess Del Pos. She also equaled career high 10 tackles. I thought she was outstanding. Also, I think this will now be our third week in a row that we've had multiple players break career best. So although in a team sense, we're not getting where we want to be, and this is a team sport, so that's the main focus. You know, no point winning a Brownlow when you can win a premiership, but we want team success. But when you're seeing individuals step up like that and improve each week, it is promising to see.
It is, and that's what we want to see. We want to see the improvements of the players as individuals, but now all good. Good to see them, you know, hitting their KPIs, as you said before, but now we need to see the cohesion as a team.
Mm-hmm.
We need to see something change in the game plan, because I'm looking at the game plan. I can see what he's trying to do, but I just don't think the girls are skilled enough to execute what he's trying to put down. Like that kick into the middle worked against Essendon, and it just didn't work after quarter time against Port Adelaide. They read it like a book too easily.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's only the game plan. I think that's a major part of it. But I think Nathan mentioned it in the comments too, and I was going to mention it later on, but since he's mentioned it, I'll bring it up now. I was going to mention this. The VFL and VFLW awards were on Monday night, and not one of our VFLW girls were in the Team of the Year squad, not just the team, the squad. And, you know, that's a massive achievement. So, you know, it's a lot to ask to be in the Team of the Year squad, but I think it does worry me a little bit of where is our development?
Yeah.
Like, where is it coming from if the team below our AFL team is not performing to the standard individually that they could be, or as a team? We didn't have a great year in the VFLW season either. So I think he hit the nail on the head too. We need development coming through because that's where the future is.
That's it. Oh, thank you to Robbie Cook for dropping $2.99. We appreciate the love. But no, you're right. 100% you're right. And this is where you want your VFLW side to feed your AFLW side. You see it at
Essendon.
this. Yeah, well, that's exactly right. If you have a look at, we'll use Alex Morecambe as an example, was one of the very last added to the Essendon list, but she was on their VFLW list, and I work closely with her through my role, and I was talking to her post the VFLW season, and I'm like, so what are you up to? And she goes, oh, I'm going out and I'm training with the AFLW girls just to, stay fit and that. She earned her chance to play AFLW level. That just shows the progression that they've got. And you have a look at their list. They built that list from scratch, Essendon VFLW. And you look at the girls that got drafted to Essendon, ready-made players, still quite young. So the development is come through and you can see it. I just want that for us. I just want to be able to have a crop of VFLW girls that are good enough to be drafted elsewhere.
That we're fighting to keep because they're too good to let go.
I think the last player that, I think one of the Wright sisters, I think she plays at North Melbourne now. She was on the Carlton VFLW list, probably the last player from memory that's been drafted to an AFLW list and is still currently playing today. And this is where it needs to also filter down from the community level. Girls that play your NAB league, if they don't get a chance at AFLW level straight off the bat, give them an opportunity at VFL level to continue to develop. Then push them up through to the AFLW system. Because not every 18-year-old girl is going to get drafted, are they? So
no, not every 18. Exactly. They need to go into the VFL system, and then we need to build them into what we need in our AFL system. It's the same system as the men's. Like, you want your VFL team to be strong so that your AFL team can be strong. You see it all the time. The teams that are going well in the VFL, VFLW go well in the AFL, AFLW because they push each other to be better. And I think we're lacking that.
Collingwood's another example of a good VFLW side into the AFLW side. North Melbourne's another example. Melbourne and Casey Demons are another example. And hopefully Hawthorn, VFLW and AFLW and Southern Saints who feed into the AFLW for St Kilda. Like, there's connections there. It just needs to, we just need to establish a really solid connection between our VFLW and our AFLW. So these are the things that, like, they can reflect on at the end of the season and go, all right, where can we improve? Where can we build? This season's far from over for us. Like, we're not saying shut up shop and whatever. It's just that we need to look at it holistically and go, right, this is what we need to improve. And if we're going to do that, these are the things that we have to put in place to do so.
Yeah, spot on. Absolutely agree.
And as painful as it is, Mandy's right.
Yep.
They're humming across the board at the moment. Like, it's sickening.
And that's what we want. That's what you need as a football club. Like,
Exactly
we are a whole football club. We want our VFL men, our VFL men, our AFL men, our VFLW, our AFLW, our membership department, our administrators, our everyone across the board, our Carlton College kids. To be striving, because when you've got a whole club and you've got so many little avenues to get success from, if you're all doing well, it makes each other better. So that's what we're going to be striving for.
Oh, in a dream world, that sounds perfect, and it will get better. Like, we will be better. And I've got Dad messaging me at the moment. Hi, Dad. He's like, we need a better coach. Look, not wrong, but look, it's one of those things that, like, there's a lot of people that don't like the way our coach goes about it. I'm kind of on the fence about it at the moment. I want to see where the rest of this year goes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think, there's a lot of words being said about half at the moment, and, everyone has the right to have their own opinion, but I think at the end of the day, there is also players going out onto the field each game that have a responsibility. So I know that, a coach has a lot of direction in the club, and, we've seen in the AFL men's with past coaches that they're not always the right fit for the club, and sometimes you've got to part ways for the betterment of the team. But
Correct.
by the same merit, when they are your coach, there's more responsibility and more parts to a club. And I think there could be questions needing to be asked of different departments as well.
You're 100% correct. Like there's like it is like it is. You're right. Like we got to try and understand what it is that they're dealing with at this point, and we're only as good as our performance on the field, and that's a reflection on the girls on the park and whoever's looking after those girls off the park. And we will improve without question as the season goes on. Cohesion, that sort of stuff, new list, could take a while for them to kind of gel. I think Nathan's hit the nail on the head here.
Do you want to coach, Nath?
Yeah, can you? Like, I wouldn't mind this one.
Oh, that would be elite. I think I would cry if that happened.
And I remember, I think it was round one. We're all sitting there going, "Is that Simo? Simo doing the runner? Is that Simo? I recognise those legs anywhere." It was actually really bad. But no, I agree with Nathan's assessment. Truly agree with that assessment. Is his game plan too tactical? Is he asking too much of this young group too soon?
Which may be why we were able to win against Essendon, was because the heart drove the win and not the tactics. Just playing off adrenaline. Maybe that's the difference.
Yeah, no, I think so. And watching the Hawthorn Essendon game and sitting where I was, like sitting on level 2 is probably one of the best places to watch any game of football, if I'm honest, because you can actually see what each team's trying to do tactically. And I could see what Nat Wood was doing with the Essendon girls. And opposed to that, I could also see what Beck Goddard was trying to do. And I think I need to sit upper level somewhere on a wing to watch the AFLW Carlton games, because we haven't got that at Icon Park, which is a sad thing. Unless we try and sit up in the hero stand. But maybe we should do that next game. You and I should just go sit up there.
Let's ask for a Marvel game so that we can assess our game plan.
Sorry, guys. We want them to be at Marvel Stadium so we can look at their game plan. But no, I want to be able to see what he's trying to do. And when you look at it on a replay, you see a lot more than what you'd see watching the game from where we sit. And I could see what he was trying to do, but I agree with Nathan's assessment wholeheartedly. I think he's trying to do too much too soon with this group. He's using the similar game plan when we had more experienced players. So I just want to see him strip it back a little bit, cut it back to basics, and get the basics right. Get your inside 50s right.
Our basics are what kill us.
That's right. The kicking efficiency, the marking, the kicking, the chip, chip, chip. We don't always have to go 110 miles an hour in a game of football. Like, that's what Port Adelaide did well in that second quarter. They slowed the game down, chip, 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 bang, into the forward line. And I said it last week, and I'm going to say it this week, inside 50 efficiency.
Kick it long.
Get it to the top of the 50, hit the top of the square.
If you haven't watched last week's episode, I don't know what minute it is, but skip through it and find when Shannon is speaking about the inside 50s and the importance of going long, because I wish that we could play that to the entire AFLW department after the weekend's non-win, because Shan was spot on last week, and it's exactly what we needed to be able to win the game on the weekend. If
Hit
we
the
had
top
kicked
of the
it long,
square. Hit the top of the square. Like, all well and good. Chip it till you get to half forward. But when you get into half forward, girls can't kick more than 35 metres. I'll say it again. There's only a handful of girls that can kick more than 35 metres. Right? So hit the top of the 50, bomb it into the top of the square. Hit your tall targets. Hit
and then
your
win.
Darcy hit your Phoebe McWilliams. Those players that can mark the ball won't kick more than 40 metres. So hit the half forward line, double back, top of the square. You're better off in that 20 to 25 metre radius to kick a goal. Because that's where Port Adelaide were kicking their set shots from, no more than 35 out. I rest my case.
And then we win the game of football. Full stop.
Ultimately, yes, that's the idea.
At least we've got a game this weekend. Week's a long time in football. We have an opportunity to turn it around.
Yes, and we are playing the Fremantle Dockers in Perth, 2:05 p.m. their time. So I'm assuming, let me have a look. I'm assuming that means it's probably 4-ish our time. Does that
what
sound
time is it in Perth?
2:05.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know, time
Oh, no, 2:05 my time. My apologies.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
So it's probably like 11 o'clock there or something.
Yeah.
So it's at the Fremantle Community Bank Oval. They took it to the Doggies on the weekend. It was only a 3-point loss to Fremantle Dockers. So it's going to be interesting.
They've lost. So,
already.
Yeah. So let's not be the ones to give them their first win, please.
Look, I'm not holding my breath.
Me neither. But the thing that is giving me confidence is I don't know if it's giving me confidence or more worry about the game, because it concerns me a little bit that we could give them their first win, but they kicked 1 point against Geelong.
This is the thing.
1 point.
I'm looking at it, and they didn't have a lot of prolific ball winners. I mean, Kiara Bowers, she's Kiara Bowers, and she just finds footy and wins footy. She's like Mimi Hill, just finds the footy. Nikki Gore's also. Oh, Nikki Gore. I think she transferred from Adelaide over to Freo. Same name, no relation. But if you look, Emma O'Driscoll, another one of their prolific ball winners. Madeline Scanlon. They've got a lot of good players, and obviously they're going to be without their main ball winners from the last couple of years. Can't think of their captain's name at the top of my head. Maybe you might remember.
I don't remember off the top of my head either.
Oh, the Antonios, both of them. They don't have them this year, and they've also lost Gemma Houghton to Port Adelaide. So they're not going to be the strong side that we've played against.
No.
But we shouldn't count them out, Fremantle. They've been too good for too long.
They will look at us and think, great, perfect opportunity to get our win on the board. We need to get this season rolling, and we need to get it rolling quick. And this week is the week to do it, because we're playing Carlton. That's what they'll be thinking.
And so our girls need to be thinking, these guys haven't won a game yet. Let's not be the team to let them do it.
Yes, let's hope so, because, I think the thing that will hold us in good stead, they're not a high-scoring team this season. No. We've scored, I think, on par with them, around the 20, 30 point score mark. So I think that's what will hold us in good stead, is that they're not going to kick away from us, fingers crossed.
No.
So that'll hold us in good stead. But that 1 point loss, that 1 point game, they're not going to do that again. So we need to make sure we're on our A game, especially on their home turf. It's not going to be easy.
No. Girls fly out Friday. So the one thing that I think will hold us in really, really good stead is our defence. and we've got a really strong backline, all things considered. I love the way that Mualalawifi goes about her football. She just goes all guns blazing, taking a mark. We'll have Gabby Pound back this week. Listening to the telecast, she had uni stuff on, I believe. That's why she didn't play on the weekend, but she was there anyway. So I'm guessing that she had something that clashed with some point of the game. But yeah, Gab Pound should be back this week. Definitely can use her in the back line. She was definitely missing that in and under defender that we have, finds the footy at the bottom of the pack, gets the ball out. Could definitely see that we missed her. She was on a uni camp. Yeah, that's right. But they interviewed her on Fox.
It must have been during the week, so she was like missing training.
Possibly, but she came back and she thought that it'd be best that she not play. I appreciate that she put her stuff, her uni first. That just shows, like, at this level, at AFLW level, that they have lives outside of it and they're not just solely focused on like the men's. It's not a full time.
I think that's a great reminder to us that they've got, as much as we want them to be this ultimate professional accountability, elite athletes, which they are elite athletes, these female players, AFLW is an elite competition. But when you compare it to, AFL men's, they're playing under completely different circumstances. They've still got to work. They've still got to go to uni. They've still got life running around them. So as much as we sit here and, want them to perform, which we still do, and that can't be an excuse because every team has the same situation. Mm-hmm. Every team has lives outside of footy. But I think that is just a reminder that they've still got a lot going on outside of footy, just at where we're at with the competition.
Yeah. I'm excited about this one. We'll get Brooke back. I'm so excited. We need extra run.
Losing Maddie's a big loss, I think. And that's not just a one game thing. So that's a big loss, but hopefully we'll be able to fill in Maddie's shoes elsewhere.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited for this game. Like, I know we talk about like the potential for it to be an absolute disaster. But when you look at it line by line, unless we fix up what goes into our forward 50, because I'm finding that we're winning the ball around the ground and our midfielders are winning the ball in the middle. But we just need to clean up that forward 50 entry. I'm actually confident that our backline will be okay.
Yeah, I think our backline will be okay too, especially looking at the scoreline that they've kicked in their other games this season. I think our backline will be the most important line this coming game, because I think if they can hold Freo's forwards, then we've got this game in the bag. But
yeah. And I'd hate to think of it as season defining, but I feel like this game might be season defining. I know we're 1-1-1, but when you look at who we've got coming next, we've got Melbourne. Then we've got the Giants, which Giants are pretty gettable at Giants Stadium.
I think so.
Then we have St Kilda. They're not doing too bad. Followed by the Tigers, and then the Suns. And then we don't know where we're playing the Bulldogs. We're playing them at Icon Park, but we don't know date and time yet. What is with all these Friday night games?
I don't know. It's strange.
Next week, Friday night. And then St Kilda's Friday night. Richmond's Friday night. And Suns are Friday night. And the only Saturday afternoon game is at Giant Stadium. But I don't want to think of it as season defining, but I feel like it's going to be.
I think it is. I think we spoke about it in the first show, was that the AFLW season is so short that you can't switch on in the middle of the year. You've got to switch on straight away. And now that we've got a draw, 1 win and 1 loss, we need to get an extra win under our belt. We need to be more wins than losses, because otherwise this season will slip away from us very quickly.
No. And the answer to this question, Amanda, is thank God we do not. We do not. Let's backtrack a little bit.
We haven't discussed Kez's goal, but That was unreal.
A little bit. I'm happy. I'm actually happy. And talking to Mimi today, we were talking about she asked me, she goes, what do you think of Kez playing on the wing? And I said, masterstroke, because it is. Just her ability to be able to have that 50-50 contest, like I said earlier. And
Run
the way
both
that
ways.
she run, correct. Didn't realise she had a massive tank on her. And her sneaking forward for her second goal of her career was just, didn't look like it was going to go through at one point. But I can guarantee you that Natalie would have squealed and jumped up and down when that ball went through, because I know how much she respects Kez as a human being and as a footballer. But I want to see more of it. And that's one thing I think we'll see differently this weekend is we've only ever seen any of the games that I've seen Carlton play Freo. I think the last time was that prelim final. We were due to play them in the 2020 prelim final before the season was called. But I'm actually looking forward to seeing Kez being let loose this year.
It's quite funny that both our women's and men's team, it's that wing position that gets so much talk around it because no one's really solidified their spot, and it's a little bit of an experiment in both teams, which is very Carlton-like.
It's very Carlton-like, isn't it?
Very Carlton-like. But I'm loving her on the wing. I think her ability to be able to, one, give us run and spread, but also be able to drop back as an extra defender, then kick goals. What is this? She's an all-rounder. We're talking about Abby being a bit of the Jack Silvani of the team because of the family tradition, but Kez is almost the same, as in can play anywhere that we really want to put her now that we've found this extra avenue in putting her on the wing. So I think that's a masterstroke too.
It's her versatility and her ability to be able to run and carry. That passage of play in that last quarter where she had space to bounce the ball. When do you ever get space to bounce the ball? And it's just, I just love watching her play football. I don't know what it is. I just think that she's, enormous, as Nathan said. She was enormous in that game. Just her ability to keep herself in the contest, to keep us in the contest and not let Port Adelaide get too far ahead. Yeah. Nail on the head.
Spot on.
Literally spot on. And I just wish that more would be like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spot on.
God, I'm just loving these comments tonight.
Yeah, these comments tonight are like A+.
A+ for everyone for effort. And I actually wanted to bring this up, but I didn't know when.
That was insane.
When was the last time that happened? In any milestone gamers, all of them kick a goal. And I was actually watching when Del Pos was having a shot for goal. I'm like, hang on a minute, they've all kicked one.
Yep.
But no, I feel like if we start off okay and we don't have brain farts and lose our shape, I feel like we will win this game. And I'm saying it this week. We will win this week.
I know I have absolutely no impact on the game, but I'm scared that if I don't say we're going to win, that some superstition jinx situation is going to happen, because I haven't been wrong yet. So we're not going to lose this game.
No, I truly think that if we start off well and we put the scoreboard pressure on them early, I don't see us losing this game, because on paper, side by side, we look the stronger team. If we look at Keely Sharaf, if we look at Skepper, if we look at Imogen Milford, all of our younger players, they have capacity to be anything. Absolutely. I just feel like that if we apply ourselves and they get their structures right and they listen to me when they're going inside 50, we can't go wrong.
Please listen to Shan going inside 50. Otherwise, I will scream.
Anybody would think I should be a coach.
I'm appointing you right now.
Look, that's just me knowing, having
Football.
played women's football and just understanding the concept behind women's football, and just knowing that I hear it from my coach all the time. Move to where you want the ball to go, because then your teammate isn't going to be able to kick it to you. If you run backwards 40, 50 meters, they're not going to be able to kick it to you. So if you're standing at the top of the 50, lead from 30, lead from 20 out and hit them on the target. You know what I mean? But give me your predictions. I want to hear what everyone thinks is going to happen this week, bad or good. Rob's kicked us off. Bang, 11-point winners.
Love it.
Let's see it, guys. Flick it in the comments what you think we're going to win by or lose by. I'll post whatever. I just want to see what everyone thinks we're going to win by. How much do you reckon we'll win by, Kira?
I'm not going to put a number on how much we're going to win by because I haven't thought about that yet. But I will say that if we win, I think Freo will score less than 15 points.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Okay. I'm going to say, Dad says 9 points. Thanks, Dan. I think anywhere between 10 to 15 points. It won't be a big win.
Yep, but it won't be a
small one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Oh God. I don't think
no, please, no. I'll take any win, but Lord.
Oh. Tommy even thinks we're going to win.
Uglier than his dating record.
Manda lose by 4.
We're really going for another heart attack here.
Rob reckons DB is going to kick 3. I saw them in the gym today. They were doing the rope and everything. They were looking phenomenal. Nathan, 7-point win, maybe 30 disposals. If I could predict 30 disposals in my crystal ball, Robbie reckons we'll win by 19. Nathan, Dockers by 3. Don't see us going to Perth and winning. No, that's true. Freo would have taken a lot of confidence out of the Bulldogs game, which is very, very true. Beachy's on the bagger train, 18 points.
Ooh.
I hope you're right, Pom. I really do. She played okay over the weekend. I think changing up her role to be more of a blocking midfielder is actually working for her. I think shifting her out of that prolific ball winner mindset and putting her into be the blocker. Because when you have the midfield set up, you've got, as we like to call it, you've got the go-to player, the sweeper, and the blocker. I feel like she's the blocker. And it's working for us. Whatever that is, keep it going. I want to see her playing good football.
This is accurate. So accurate.
Yeah, look, and some of these comments are just fantastic. Like, I agree with every single one of them. I just want to see us get creative in the midfield and maybe move. Yeah, I love having Peterson there. I love having Kez in the midfield. And Mimi was saying today that Kez has been wanting to move into the midfield for quite some time. So what better time than the present? You know what I mean? Right now, yesterday, next week, every week. You know what I mean? But I just think if we can apply ourselves for 4 quarters, I reckon we'll win.
Hopefully we're here next week doing our happy dance again. Very excited about the situation and very proud. That's what I'm hoping for next week. I just want to be proud.
Yep, that's all we ask. Like, I know we're not going to win every single game, and we said this, but effort. I just want to see effort and willingness to want to win.
Yeah.
We saw it against Essendon. I saw it for a quarter against Port Adelaide. Give me 4 quarters of effort. Give me 4 quarters of heart and pride in this jumper. All I can ask.
Yeah, spot on.
Anyway, everyone, I think that has brought us to a close of another AFLW show. I just want us to win, but we'll see what the weekend unfolds. I'll be watching the game from wherever I am. I don't even know where I'm going to be on this weekend because I never know where I am any weekend anymore. But thank you, Kira, for joining me once again. We're becoming quite the duo here. I'm loving it.
If we don't say so ourselves.
We don't say so ourselves. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure having you all coming into your lounge rooms or your phones, wherever you're watching from, whether it be Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching. Thank you so much. Your comments and your kind words don't go unnoticed to us. It makes us feel good. But thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you all next week, and up the baggers.
Up the baggers.